Probability. Probability means the likelihood of an event occurring. Probability, the probability of an event happening is the chance that it will happen. This chance is dependent upon two things. Either it will happen or either it will not happen. The probability of a single event happening must be between 0 and 1. 0 in the case when it is not going to happen and 1 in the case when it is going to happen 100% of the time. There are two basic requirements for the probability. The probability values assigned to each of the outcome must be between 0 and 1, and it will never be more than 1. So the total probability of any scenario will be equal to 1. It cannot be more than 1. Why? Because out of 100 you can get maximum 100. Conditional probability. Conditional probability is the probability of an event happening provided that certain other event has happened. Like say for example, I'm going to say that I'm going to buy a painting from Mr. Y. Provided that Mr. Y is going to buy the same painting from Mr. X. What will be the probability between my purchase of the painting from Mr. Y is totally dependent on the condition that he is able to buy the same painting from Mr. X. Conditional probability of an event B occurring given that another event A has already happened. It is shown as CB/A, which means that the probability of B given the scenario A. Joint probability means that two or more events are going to occur at the same time, and these are independent or these are mutually exclusive. Joint probability is the probability of one or more events occurring after another one. Like say for example, if I'm going to toss a coin, either I'll be getting in heads and either I'll be getting a tails. So it's an independent event which can only happen. It's a single probability. And when I'm going to toss two coins simultaneously, what will happen? Either I'll get head in the first one or the tails in the first coin, or I can have the tails or the heads in the second coin. So what will be the likelihood? Likelihood will be 1 over 2 multiplied by 1 over 2. Say for example, if I'm going to roll one dice, that one dice is one probability or a single probability. The output will be 1 out of 6 because the dice will be having 6 sides. So I'll be getting one number out of 6. So the probability will be 1 over 6. And if I'm going to roll another dice, the probability will be 1 over 6 and the total joint probability will be 1 over 36. Why? Because these are multiplied together. It is calculated as the probability of each individual event multiplied together. If the occurrence or non-occurrence of one event does not change the probability of the occurrence of another event, the two events are said to be independent. Why? Because they are not dependent on each other. If the occurrence of one or more event that another event cannot occur, it means they are mutually exclusive. There is an example given for the conditional and joint probability. The probability of sales being 1 million in year 1 is 30%. So we have a 30% chance that we will be having a sales of 1 million and 70% chances that we will not be having a sales of 1 million. Assuming that the sales are 1 million in year 1, there is 40% probability that our sales will be 1.5 million in the year 2. The conditional probability, the first one, is that the sales will be 1.5 million in the year 2, assuming that they are 1 million in year 1 is 40%. Why? Because likelihood of 1.5 million occurring in the year 2 is 40%. So there is a conditional probability. The joint probability between both the scenarios is the joint probability that the sales will be 1 million in year 1 and the 1.5 million in year 2 is 30 multiplied by 40%. So we have 12% chances that we will be having $1 million worth of sale in year 1 and 1.5 million worth of sales in year 2. So the joint probability, both the events occurring at the same time, is 12%. Methods of assigning probability, they are classical method, relative frequency method, and subjective method. These are the main three types of method used. Expected value. What is expected value? expected value, we are trying to determine what the expected result will be in a situation of uncertainty. So what we try to do is we are trying to multiply the output by the given probability and seeing what will be the total outcome or total possible likelihood. This is done by multiplying each of the possible outcomes by the likelihood or the probability of that outcome occurring. All of the results are then added together to determine the expected value. The expected value is the weighted average of all the possible values. So it's type of an average or a mean. There is a calculation. We have three products X, Y, and Z. And these three products are having 5,000, 3,000, and 6,000 units. So these are the three types at a price of 2, 5, and 3. So we are having a sales of $10,000, $15,000, and $18,000, and a probability which has been assigned is 0.5, 0.3, and 0.2. You will find that for the product X we have a value of 3,000. This 3,000 is multiplied together. 10,000 multiplied by 0.3, 15,000 multiplied by 0.5, and 18,000 multiplied by 0.2. This total is known as expected value. Variance and standard deviation. The variance and standard deviation both give us an idea of the variability of the possible values in a probability distribution. The variance is the sum of the square of all the differences or deviations from the mean weighted according to their probabilities. Standard deviation is the positive square root of the variance. So what is variance? Variance is the difference, sum of the squares of the differences. Why sum? Because variance should be of both sides from the mean. Normally, normal probability distribution looks like a bell curve shape, and we will be having a variance from the mean. Mean is 0, and we will be having a variances on both the sides. It can be positive and it can be negative. And anytime we are having a variance, this variance has to be under rooted or square rooted to come up with the standard deviation, and the standard deviation is positive always. Why? Because it's a square root, so it will always be positive because it is square root of the variance. The variance contains a square number. The standard deviation is measured in the terms of the values.